So look, it's no secret that spring is the busiest time of the year for real estate agents, and sellers and buyers. However, that doesn't mean that things slow down dramatically in the winter. At the end of the day, business is business, but also preparation is key. So a lot of sellers will wait until the spring has already arrived, and that's okay. But the most successful sellers are going to be the ones who prepare weeks in advance, months in advance, even a year or two in advance. And the more prepared you are, the better off you're going to be. The less stressed you're going to be, because let's not sugarcoat it. Selling a house, it's going to be stressful. So is buying a house too, if you're going to be relocating, upsizing, downsizing, the works. So the more prepared you can be, the less stress you're going to have and the better results you're going to get. You can get ahead of the market. And I do real estate planning sessions. They're free. And the whole idea is I go to your house, I sit down with you. After walking through, I kind of point out little things that you could do to improve the value, and they're not always very expensive, let's face it. And I also kind of give you an idea of what to expect if you list at a certain time. And the reason you want to do this is you don't want to list and then find out your property's not worth what you think it is. It's not 2023 anymore, people. It's 2026. We've definitely seen what happens in 2025 when you list at 2023 prices. Now, we can also, during these little planning sessions, figure out maybe an alternative. If you can't sell right away, maybe you won't be able to pay off your mortgage. Maybe we look at downsizing. I do know a lot of people are doing that in order to improve their finances. But you could also look at, well, maybe I use this as an income property. There's so many different routes you can go, and that's why I love planning sessions, because it literally gives you a strategy that works specific to your situation. So yes, get ahead of things, plan early, know what you're gonna do before you actually have to do it. Declutter like you are moving, because at the end of the day, you are. Nobody wants to go to a showing and just see a ton of crap everywhere. I mean, the best thing you can do to make a space feel open and inviting is to get rid of that crap. Look around. What are you not using right now? What is just unsightly and ugly? And what just takes up space that doesn't need to? Get rid of it. At the end of the day, you're going to want to depersonalize the place a little bit anyway. So even like if you have a lot of photos around, take them, and even if you have nowhere else to put things, put them in a storage box. Just shove them into a storage room or a basement somewhere. As long as it doesn't like clog up the room, obviously. But the more you can declutter and make the space feel open and inviting, the better. Families want space to live in. So you're going to want to handle minor things. You're going to want to go around your property and look for things that are easy fixes. Caulking is a big one. When you see that stained caulking or caulking that's peeling up out of a window or shower. Another big one for me is when the lights don't match. So if you have mismatched lighting or flickery lighting or really dim lighting. Another one too is like loose railings or doorknobs. Even like the cover plates for your light switch, your plugs even, if you see cracks or issues there. All of these minor things are not overly costly to fix, but they will become major negotiation weapons by a buyer's agent. Because if I go in with a buyer, they're gonna see all this. They're gonna wonder, well, what else is going on to this property? It seems like it's not really being looked after. So the more you can handle these minor things, the better off you're going to be when it comes time to actually negotiate price. So look, not every improvement needs to be a major renovation, and it doesn't need to be a major expense. A lot of those minor things I mentioned before are fairly easy and cost-effective to fix. A big one is the paint. You can do a lot with paint. Now, paint is gonna be a little more expensive sometimes, especially if you have to hire somebody to do it. But if you're able to paint yourself, there's YouTube videos that can help you out. Simply painting things white can be a huge difference. I'm gonna show you an example of this. So here's an old kitchen, an old dated kitchen, but we're gonna update it. We're gonna paint the cupboards white. We're gonna change the light fixtures to be a little more of a neutral white rather than a warm white. And we're gonna get rid of that brown curtain. And you can see right away, it makes the space feel more up to date. It makes it more inviting for buyers, because let's face it, buyers want something that's up to date. And it's gonna be more appealing to those buyers because it feels more modern. We didn't have to spend money on new appliances. We didn't even change that laminate countertop, but the space feels different. And this is the power of little things. Obviously painting is a little more major than, say, changing a light bulb. But when you combine them and you do all these little things combined, it adds up over time. So even if you're not planning to sell, doing these things now is going to help you when you do go to sell. So you walk into a house, the first thing you do, what does it smell like? I honestly, the first 10 seconds really do shape how a lot of people feel about the entire property. If I walk into a house and all I can smell is those disgusting artificial air fresheners that some people like to use, it makes me wonder, what are they hiding? What is the odor that they're trying to cover up? And honestly, those things, those artificial air fresheners, guys, they smell like urinal cakes. Don't do them. The only way you should be eliminating an odor is by finding that source of that odor and cleaning it. Other things you can do, like open the windows and doors, get rid of that damp, dusty, old house feeling that you get when you walk into some homes that haven't been opened in a while or lived in a while. It really does make a difference. Another thing too, like vacuuming and dusting is a big one, because let's face it, dust allergies are real. Another thing too is you can look at an air purifier. Now, you don't have to spend a fortune on them. Like, look, I did spend money for mine. It's probably one of my favorite purchases. I love my air purifier. I even have it hooked up to my Google and Alexa, so that way I can kind of turn it on and off when I want or see how the air quality is. But air purifiers do work, and you walk right by them too. Like you can smell how clean the air is. Like, as you can tell, I'm a big believer in air purifiers, but you don't need to spend a fortune. Watch the CBC Marketplace episode about them. There's actually a DIY tool, a little DIY trick you can do with just a fan and a furnace filter. And apparently this actually was more effective than some of the more expensive units that they compared it to. So it's definitely something to think of if you are trying to make your house smell better. But please, if you take anything from this, take those artificial air fresheners and get rid of them. I don't want to smell like I'm going into the bathroom when I go into a showing. Look, curb appeal, it's really important. The first thing people see when they look at your listing online is the front of the property. They see a picture of the outside. And on top of that, if I pull up with a buyer at a showing, the first thing we're doing is looking around. Ooh, this place is nice. Ooh, it needs a little bit of work. There's a crack there. So what you want to do is look at the outside, touch up any areas where there's some issues with the paint, mow the lawn, get the leaves out of there, fix any wobbly fencing or railings on the outside, maybe update the light fixture, very similar to the inside. Deal with the eaves troughs, get the leaves and get the clogging out of there. If there's any bird's nest, get rid of that. Please get rid of your hornet nest. I do not want to walk into a showing and lose all bass in my voice when I'm screaming like a maniac with hornets flying at me. So please deal with those, get somebody to do it for you. Because at the end of the day, a buyer will just leave a showing if they're scared that they're gonna get attacked by hornets. But the other thing is look at maybe budgeting for a garden. Because at the end of the day, like if you're listing in the spring, you have time to save up for some cheap plants. You don't have to go spending a fortune. You just want to make the place look presentable and nice and appealing and make it look maintained. Now, another thing too is the roof. Now, if we pull up, we're gonna be looking at the roof and we're gonna look for missing shingles and stuff like that. Roofs are a big one though. They're a big investment, but you do get a lot of return on that investment if you have a new roof. So if it's something that you can do, definitely it's something to consider, especially if your roof does need a lot of work. Nobody wants to deal with leaks. So curb appeal, it's bigger than many people think it is, but it doesn't have to be super expensive if you've maintained the property. It's little things can have a big impact. So the spring market isn't just a date. It's not arbitrary. It's just a time of the year overall. And your ideal launch for your property really does depend on supply and demand. What are the inventory levels? What are the other listings going on in your neighborhood? What are they listed at? Because at the end of the day, that's your competition. But you also want to look at what's the market overall. Is it a buyer's market? Because it does look like we're headed into more, they say balanced market, but buyers definitely, it's leaning more towards buyers still. Not to the same extent it did in 2025, but at the end of the day, the point here is you got to know the market. You got to look at supply and demand. You got to look at how you compare to the other properties that are going up. Timing is definitely important. Like if you can get in early when buyers start looking in swarms, that's going to benefit you. You're going to have more demand. You're going to have more exposure overall. Another thing too, like please don't price like it's 2023, because 2023 is over, 2024 is over. And if anybody was trying to sell in 2025 and was trying to sell at 2023 prices, they're learning the hard way that that's not going to work. So you got to price according to the market, and that comes with preparation. Another one too is like have a strategy and know your schedule. Know when the photos are getting done. It's kind of convenient with me because I can do the photos whenever I want. I'm my own photographer, but having a plan of when you want to do all that is good. Like I could do the interior photos right now and then wait until the weather cleans up a little bit and we don't have a ton of snow on the ground. That's when I could do the exterior photos and get the nice, the front pager that everybody sees first on the listing. So have a schedule, have a strategy, have a plan. That's probably like, I'm gonna say that so many times in this video because that's how important it actually is. So look, the spring market is gonna reward the sellers who are most prepared and least rushed. If you're even considering selling in the spring, it's time to make a strategy. It's time to book a planning session. I mean, literally call your realtor, hi, and basically have us walk through the property, look at the pros and cons, and sit down with you, come up with a pricing strategy, come up with a little idea of all those little fixes that you can do that will make the house more appealing to buyers and are gonna make the process of selling and dealing with showings and open houses and all that crap, it's gonna be a lot less stressful for you. So seriously, get prepared early and you will reap the reward.